Good morning, y'all. Satnam, Raj Prem here. And I wanted to take a moment this morning to talk with you about trauma. I know for me, when I hear the word trauma, I picture like the intensive care ward of a hospital. I envision soldiers at war. And the term PTSD comes to mind. I picture these like severe incidents or instances where people experienced a great deal of stress, essentially, whether it be physical, emotional, mental. And I wanted to share with you what I have been doing a lot of studying on and healing on for a long time now, which is the notion that trauma doesn't necessarily need to, be part of a 10-car pileup on the highway or, serving in an infantry unit in some far-off land. Trauma can be experienced in your home, and many people experience trauma in their early childhood. I was someone who experienced trauma in my early childhood, and one of the results from that, it's really interesting how our body adapts to or develops these coping mechanisms to accommodate our survival instinct. And essentially, when we're unable to feel safe and secure, we kind of repattern, reconfigure the wiring in our nervous system, in our brain, to cope with whatever that stressor is. And again, this is not to, point fingers at family dynamics or, my family or your family. This is about healing. This is about healing the root cause of our suffering. And I am here baring my soul, opening my heart with you so that you might be able to bring more healing into your life and consequently into the lives of the people around you. And so what I've noticed is that I have some coping mechanisms. Diane Heller Poole talks about it as attachment styles that we have. And the ideal scenario being secure attachment, like we feel safe, we feel nurtured, we feel cared for, and we're able to be vulnerable. And that's where we are able to create true intimacy. And when we are not feeling safe and are not able to be vulnerable, unable to really open our hearts with our loved ones, it's typically because we've developed some kind of a coping mechanism for dealing with the potential for re-experiencing that trauma that we experienced at some point in our history, whether it was in the childhood or at some other point in the life. And so essentially, the way to heal from that is, first of all, to become aware of it, to find a safe place, a safe person, or a safe group where you can share what it is that you've experienced. And this is probably one of the more difficult challenges that people experience, is where can I feel safe to share this traumatic experience that happened with me and not feel shame or not feel like the person is going to look at us like we're a victim or crying, poor me, oh my God, poor me. And that's, it's something that I've experienced. I've, opened my heart with people about some of the suffering that I've experienced, and, most people have experienced some form of trauma or suffering, unfortunately, in their lives. And so we've been conditioned to not really, to kind of stuff it down and not pay attention to it. And or when someone else brings up some of these traumas, especially if it's with the people that you experience them with, they try to negate them or tell you, oh, I experienced way worse than that, or I experienced trauma too, but be a man, or grow a pair, or you hear all these like kind of one-liners that people throw at you when you're bearing your soul to them, sharing something that you maybe haven't shared your whole life with anyone, and you're coming into these realizations, especially in this time. We're moving into this divine feminine energy in the universe, and things are shifting, and so we're needing to find these communities, these safe havens where we can share our story, share our experience, so that we can heal these. What the word trauma in Greek means wound. And it was initially referred to as like a physical wound. Someone incurred trauma on the battlefield or something like that. But now we realize that trauma can be emotional or mental, or even energetic. So I just want to let you know that if you have experienced some trauma, and maybe you have some patterns in your life that are not so serving, especially if it's with your romantic partner, someone that you love very dearly, a family member. If you have some kind of a pattern that's really not working out so well for you or for them, and you're aware, and you're becoming more and more aware of it, and you really like to shift it, go deeper into your story and try and look at those traumas that you experienced, and have a conversation with someone safe, or come into a group. I'm going to be hosting some men's groups, both online and at our offices in Cambridge, in Harvard Square at Karma Yoga. So I'm going to be hosting some men's groups there, and my wife Siomi is going to be hosting some women's circles. So check those out, or find something similar close to you, or like I said, find someone safe, a therapist, anyone that you can share this stuff with, because chances are it's those root cause experiences that are going to help you shift these patterns that you're experiencing in your current life, your current relationships. And we don't want these patterns. To share my experience, I have a pattern that I've been working on for some time now that's finally starting to shift, which is why I wanted to share this with you, because it's very relevant for me. Is that when someone comes into a room, or someone asks me to do something for them out of the blue, especially if it's a partner, it seems like that's the trigger for me. I tend to feel almost like a jolt of energy, like a shock go through my system. And that's the trigger of this old trauma. And I've dug down, and found out where the root cause of that trauma was, particular instances in my childhood that I went back to and have shifted those stories, those occurrences, on an energetic level, on a mental level, but also it permeates the tissues of our body. It becomes a somatic learning. Our body holds on to those traumas in the tissues of our body, not only in our minds, not only in our energy bodies and our spirit. And so it's all connected. And so when we go back and we offer that child some help, or be their protector, we're able to shift that pattern right into present day, because they say, real shifts happen in the present. And, but we sometimes have to go back and relive those traumatic experiences and shift our perspective on them, or shift our connection with them, so that we can diffuse the energy that's there. Otherwise, they remain ever vibrantly alive in our psyche, in our body, in our emotional body, in our spiritual body, in all the bodies. And we don't want to keep reliving these traumas forever. I know it doesn't serve me, it doesn't serve my partner, and I'm feeling so much better now that I'm able to identify where does that thing come from, and so that I can shift it and be done with it, heal it, and let it go. But it does involve some awareness, and it definitely does involve some work. So I'll likely be talking some more about this, because it's something that I feel is so important and so impactful. So that's all for today. Namaste.